Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So the final day of spoiler season is continuing on, and early this morning we got a very exciting card, Containment Construct, and you won't believe what this card does. It is absolute madness. Literally, it's madness. It is crazy, and maybe has to deal with madness. Also, another exciting card from today is Invigorating Hot Springs, and this card had me singing, "This card is on fire." Okay, I'll stop. Anyways, yeah, make sure you check that episode out at some point, but not before you stay tuned to this episode on Farewell. And this card I actually did not think was real at first. And actually not because of this image, because of something else. Well, let's just jump in and I'll explain. So, and excuse that this card is slightly off-center. The actual image of the card that I found is, well, not perfect, so I did my best adjusting it, you know, tilting it just a little bit. Anyways, regardless, yeah, this card now, to me, is 100% legitimate, and a little while back, I think it was last week at some point, on Reddit, there was a post basically that this card had been data mined, not with the image itself, but what the card does. So let's go through that real quick. Farewell is a sorcery for 4 white, and it says choose one or more. Exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, exile all enchantments, exile all graveyards. So yeah, like some of the other potential spoilers that showed up on Reddit, you know, pre-spoiler season, before the actual spoilers were revealed, I was skeptical. And again, since this one, you know, was basically a data mine, I didn't know how actually authentic that would be. So I didn't cover that one versus, you know, other ones where, you know, we had at least photos of the actual cards themselves. So to actually fake a spoiler like that, it would be a bit more difficult, I believe, you know, just having to actually print the card out, you know, get, you know, art, you know, make it actually look legitimate. And then for whatever reason, take a terrible photo because it seems like a lot of the potential spoilers that were coming out for a while have kept getting worse and worse photos. I think people were trying to one-up each other with awful photos. Or I shouldn't say awful, and I shouldn't complain regardless. Anyways, yeah, this is one that I did not cover, but now it is looking very legitimate. And again, this is a potential spoiler that at the point I did not think it was real. Now it is real, and this thing is really powerful. Yes, 6 mana is quite a bit, but when it comes to Wraths, this is, well, quite the impactful one at 6 mana, and it is well worth that cost. This is an incredibly flexible Wrath. Again, this one says choose one or more. It's not, you know, you only get to pick 2, or get to pick 1 or 3 or whatnot. No, it is choose 1 or more. So if you want 3 of these, pick the exact 3 that you want. If you want 2, if you only want 1, if you want all of them. This card is incredibly flexible and hits basically everything that you want it to hit. And it's not just, you know, destroy all artifacts, destroy all creatures, it's exile. So this permanently gets rid of things. I mean, it can get around death triggers, you know, it can get around indestructibility, etc., etc., etc. And it really hates on graveyards as well. Again, you're not destroying creatures or artifacts or enchantments to send them to the graveyard, you know, which graveyard decks might actually even want, or, you know, can, you know, get those things back pretty easily. But on top of that, you can exile all graveyards too to really shut down those graveyard strategies. Now, obviously, again, this hits all of your things as well, but you're going to be picking the options that are best for you for the situation that you're in. If you've got an artifact-centric deck and you've got a ton of artifacts in play, well, hey, if your opponents don't have many of those, let's not exile the artifacts, but we can get rid of the creatures, enchantments, and sure, why not the graveyards too? So yeah, this thing is incredibly powerful, and I can see it being in a lot of decks moving forward. And actually, it's really funny to kind of see the evolution of Magic, you know, through even just this individual card in comparison to a similar card from old Kamigawa. Because in the original Kamigawa block, we got Final Judgment, a sorcery for 4 white, so again, the exact same mana cost, it's also a sorcery, and this one simply says, well, again, it's been around at this point, but remove all creatures from the game, exile all creatures. I guess I shouldn't say around, it hasn't functionally been changed, it's just, Oracle, the Oracle text has been changed, there we go. It's the last day of spoiler season, alright, I am absolutely everywhere right now. Anyways, yeah, so, I mean, that came out, what, in 2005, I believe? So, but 17 years later, we are getting just an incredibly more powerful version of this card. Obviously, Farewell can exile all creatures, or, you know, it can do a lot of other things. You can choose to exile enchantments, artifacts, graveyard. Yeah, you've got options, and again, it's flexible for whatever you want, whereas this one obviously doesn't give you any options, it only does one thing, and yeah, it's nowhere near as powerful. So yet another example of power creep in Magic. Regardless, Farewell is definitely a fantastic Wrath, and again, I think it's going to see a play in a lot of decks, and it's again somewhat similar to cards like Merciless Eviction, Austere Command, and Cleansing Nova. These are all flexible board wipes that see a good amount of play in Commander. I mean, Merciless Eviction itself, I believe, sees play in like 16% or so of eligible decks, which is absolutely crazy. Austere Command, I believe, is not too far behind that, and this one also is, you know, in white, not Orzhov, so it's got a bigger pool to actually pick from. Regardless, when it comes to comparing Farewell to these cards, though, it really stands above pretty much all of them. And yeah, I mean, if some of these are staples, then Farewell is most definitely going to be a staple. I mean, let's just look at it in comparison to Merciless Eviction. Merciless Eviction is a sorcery for 4 white, so same converted mana cost, but again, obviously this one's an Orzhov, so it is more restrictive in what decks it can be. It says choose one, not choose one or more. Exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, exile all enchantments, or exile all planeswalkers. So again, you only get to pick one of these modes, whereas with Farewell, you can pick any number of them. Now, I'm not saying Merciless Eviction is bad. It is a good card and it can help you out in a lot of situations, but Farewell is going to be able to help you out more. Now, obviously, one other difference is that Merciless Eviction can hit planeswalkers, whereas Farewell can't, but in all honesty, I think it's more important to be able to hit graveyards than planeswalkers. I mean, obviously, in certain play groups, if you're playing against, you know, Super Friends, sure, you're going to want to be able to hit planeswalkers with this, but for the most part, you're probably going to run into more graveyard-centric decks than Super Friends decks. So being able to remove graveyards instead of planeswalkers, I would definitely lean on the side of Farewell in that case. So yeah, in comparison to Merciless Eviction, again, not a bad card, a very good card in a staple and Orzhov decks, well, Farewell is just a better card in pretty much every single way. And then again, Austere Command is also a fantastic card. It's a sorcery that costs 4 white, so the exact same mana cost, and it says choose 2. Destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So, Farewell, again, has a leg up on Austere Command when it comes to how many you can choose. Again, Austere Command says that you have to choose 2. You can't choose 3 or 4 or even 1. You know, if you don't want to destroy, you know, anything more than just artifacts, too bad. You have to pick 2. Whereas Farewell, again, allows you to pick 1 or all or, you know, however many you want. On top of that, again, this is only destroying, not exiling, and the vast majority of the time, you definitely want that exile. Now, there are certain scenarios where, you know, it's like, oh, well, I've got indestructible creatures in play, so sure, I want to just destroy so my creatures stick around where my opponents don't. Yep, that is a scenario that can happen. However, again, the vast majority of the time, you'd rather have the exile so you permanently get rid of things and, again, get around death triggers, you know, don't feed graveyards, and then also, you know, get indestructible creatures off the board. Now, Austere Command doesn't deal with graveyards, but it does have a slight difference where it can kind of pick and choose which creatures it wants to stick around. Again, either those that have converted mana cost 3 or less, or 4 or greater. Obviously, you can pick both if you want to destroy everything, but yeah, I mean, yes, this is a very flexible and very fantastic board wipe, but I still think Farewell has a leg up in a lot of aspects when it comes to comparing these two. And of course, Cleansing Nova is a more recent board wipe. It's a sorcery for 3 white, so 1 less than the others. It says choose 1 to destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Again, decently flexible. It does cost less than Farewell, but it's only destroying, not exiling, and again, your options are more limited. You can only pick 1 of these. It's still somewhat flexible, but nowhere near as flexible, again, as that choose 1 or more with 4 options. So yeah, in my opinion, Farewell is destined to be a Commander staple. And of course, I mean, there are going to be plenty of decks out there that are going to be considering it. I mean, basically, if your deck has white and wants a board wipe, it's definitely in consideration. That being said, obviously specific commanders like Selenia, who really likes board wipes, you know, are definitely like, yeah, give me another board wipe, one that's incredibly flexible, can help me out in a lot of scenarios. Selenia is a 3/3 flying angel, and it has pay 2 life, return it back to its owner's hand, so basically the way that many players, including myself, built Selenia is you can utilize Selenia to kind of, you know, manipulate your life total to take it down by increments of 2, because you can actually pay that 2 life over and over again in response to itself. So why would you do this? Well, it's actually kind of like a life swap deck or a life setting deck where you get everyone's life total down to pretty much nothing, including yourselves, and you can take your opponents out pretty easily from there. And so because of that, and because Selenia is bouncing back to your hand so it can save itself, having board wipes in it like Farewell that are pretty flexible to take out what you want to take out can be huge. But of course, again, like I mentioned, pretty much any commander that has white in its mana cost and, you know, wants a board wipe in their deck probably wants to consider the card, although it might be pretty expensive, again, because of that. But actually, now that I talked about Farewell, you know, again, like a potential spoiler that, you know, came out last week, you know, with just the data mining, and now it's kind of been confirmed at this point, let's talk about other confirmed spoilers really quick. I didn't want to do an entire video on these, you know, again, potential spoilers that I've talked about on a couple of episodes beforehand that have now been confirmed, but I want to make sure that people know that certain ones are confirmed or have been so far. So let's quickly go over them. I'm not going to go into full detail, obviously, because I've already done episodes talking about what they do. But here we go. Just like Farewell, recently Risona Asari Commander has been confirmed. This is an actual card, and again, like I said in my episode, it's pretty bad. And yeah, at least for Commander's sake. Anyways, speaking of Commanders, Kuro the Boundless Sky has also been confirmed one of the 5 Dragon Spirits from the set. Or I guess I should clarify, one of the 5 Dragon Spirits from the cycle. Speaking of which, the rest of the cycle, you know, other than the red one, which I believe was previewed first by Wizards themselves, actually, quite a while back. We also had Junji the Midnight Sky, Kairi the Swirling Sky, and Ao, sorry about mispronouncing these names, the Dawn Sky. All of these have been confirmed as well, so yeah, we've got our cycle of 5 dragons. And again, I had to catch myself when I said there's only 5 Dragon Spirits in this set, because there's actually another one with Kyodai, Soul of Kamigawa, and I think this was actually the first potential spoiler that I talked about, and originally I did not believe that this was a real card, but obviously this has been confirmed now, and yeah, I mean, it is a 5-color commander, because, you know, it's just another one of those commanders where they slap on the Wooburg activation in, you know, in the actual text. And I believe moving forward at some point, Wizards had said they're going to stop doing this, but obviously this card has already been made. I could be wrong, I could have misheard that, but yeah, moving on. Also confirmed is Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice, a fantastically fun commander that is going to do a lot of things for auras, so yeah, be on the lookout for that one. Speaking of which, how about a Sultai Enchantment commander with Tetsunari Toad Rider and Kaimi the Toad Friend, or I guess technically a frog, because we don't have toads in Magic apparently, even though, you know, we're riding a toad. They're all frogs. It's kind of like, you know, pigs and boars and whatnot. Anyways. Also confirmed are the Two-Face commanders of the Precons with Chishiro, the Shattered Blade, and Kotori, Pilot Prodigy. Chishiro is going to be in that modified Precon where it deals with, you know, equipment, auras, etc., 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 getting counters on things, and having creatures modified. Whereas Kotori, Pilot Prodigy is going to be on the other side of things with vehicles. Also confirmed is that original channel land that we saw with Takanuma Abandoned Mire. Yeah, that legendary land cycle that first was, you know, theorized as soon as the initial image of this card came out. And obviously, you know, we've gotten the other ones this cycle now at this point with like Beseiju, etc., etc., etc. And more cards that were confirmed are the Kami War, you know, that 5-color saga that flips over to a 5-color dragon. Iganjo Uprising, which, you know, that's the one that makes a ton of samurai out of nowhere, but it also can give your opponent samurai too, because fun samurai times. And then Flame Discharge, you know, just a removal spell that can dish out some damage based on modified creatures. And actually, my apologies if I missed any, you know, potential spoilers that I had covered at one point that are now official spoilers. My bad. I tried to do my best to go through and remember what I'd already talked about and now what is actually out. So I very well could have missed something. Regardless, again, as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on Farewell. It's kind of ironic, and I'm saying Farewell right now, but I'm also talking about Farewell. Anyways. Yeah, this thing is really flexible, really powerful, and really good. I mean, again, it's just strictly better than a lot of those other board wipes that are already fantastic in Commander. So, yeah, this thing has a ton of potential and is probably going to be a staple, and hopefully it's not going to be too expensive, but it probably will be. And yeah, it's definitely going to be the bane of some decks when it gets cast and takes out, you know, all their things, including their graveyards, too. Regardless, spoiler season is not quite done just yet, so I'm hoping even more exciting cards come out before the end of the day, and yeah, stay tuned to this channel for more exciting quick takes. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.